Hey there folks, and welcome back to another weekly Q&A. This is episode number 2, and I'm just going to start by reading the first question, which is by Chippy Tucker, I think it is, from I believe this was a comment on YouTube. Man, I just love the Tobbs sandalwood scent, but I just use my finger to scoop it out and never a scoop. What's the purpose of that? Hygienic reasons? Thanks for the great review. Cheers. All right, good question, Chippy. Yes, I use the spatula just for hygienic reasons to keep my finger out of the soap. Not that that's a problem, but I bought a bunch of those cosmetic spatulas, and anytime I'm scooping a sample or scooping something out, I just use it because it's just a little easier to use and I don't have to stick my sausage fingers in the soap. Thanks for the question. Next question, I forgot to copy the username down, so I apologize for that, but we'll answer the question all the same. It says, hey Chris, totally off topic, but I was wondering if you've ever tried the late Charles Roberts method shaving products. If so, what were your thoughts? The answer to that question is no. I did not try the products, but I think it's sad that Charles is gone. I know a lot of people gave him a lot of crap, but you know, he was enthusiastic. He was one of the folks responsible for bringing wet shaving back, as I understand it. Some of the terms we use today are actually attributed to him, and you know, God bless him. Next question comes from Steve Walker. It says, I have a question, Chris. Why do you continue to wear that abomination of a thread gathering resembling a t-shirt? Those two colors don't even go together. He was talking about when I wore the Auburn shirt at some point in the recent past. The fashion police should throw anyone wearing those colors under the jail and jam bamboo under their fingernails for all eternity. But I like you, Chris, so I'll pardon you this time. Well, Steve, and by the way, that's not a serious question. I know Steve, and he's just giving me a jab because he's a big Alabama fan, I think. So there you go, Steve, Alabama. Next question. Again, I forgot to copy. Oh, no, Chris Ryan. Comes from Chris Ryan. It says, Chris, I tried a newer Badger brush thinking it would be great. I wanted to like it, but I kept coming back to my Plissoft. It just lathers great, dries very quickly, and stays cleaner than Boar or Badger. So anyone who hasn't tried a Plisson style knot yet is really missing out, in my opinion. Thanks for your recommendation. Well, that was really a comment, not a question, but I agree. Although I will say there's room for all of those brushes in your arsenal if you like them. I tend to stick to the synthetics because they just work best for me, and in particular, I do like that Plissoft or Plisson type knot, as Chris mentioned, and you can see my videos. Go see the ones called Why the Plisson Sucks if you want to understand why I really like those knots. Thanks for the question, Chris. Next question comes from Juan Aguirre. I think that is, and if I said that wrong, I apologize. Can I ask why you shake the aftershave before applying it? That's an excellent question. In the aftershave, there are components of different weights. So sometimes stuff settles on the bottom and in throughout. When you shake it, you're making sure that that mixes up and you're getting a good application of the aftershave. So always shake your aftershave to make sure you're getting everything mixed up well before applying it to your face. Great question. Next question or comment comes from Carrie Kerr. Hey CB, we all know that these opinions are yours. No need to go over it and over it again. It does get old and tiring. For those who can't figure it out, they never will. Stop playing into the peanut gallery. And he was responding to the shaving soap misses video where I say at the beginning, you know, this is just my thoughts. I'm not trying to impugn the soap makers or anything like that. And the reason that I make that clear, Carrie, is I get new subscribers every week. And so if someone happens to watch one of these videos and they don't know, you know, sort of what the ground rules are, they won't understand. So that's why I always explain before certain type of videos. But I do understand, and I thank you as always, Carrie, for watching and being an all-around good fellow. Next question. There goes Leroy, barking at someone outside. Next question comes from Caitlin, for Caitlin Hart. That's a long name. And sorry about Leroy. Anyway, I was hoping someone would review that razor. Couple of questions, and he's talking about the fine slant razor, by the way. Oh, Leroy. Anyway, He wanted to know if there were any blade alignment problems with the base plate, or was there much wiggle room, and was the handle interchangeable? And do I plan on purchasing one myself? And can I compare it to be more aggressive or less than above the tie Merkur Icon? Those are loaded questions. First of all, on the blade alignment, it locks in tight. No wiggle room in there, so no problems. On the handle, I didn't try it with other handles, so I don't know. Do I plan to buy it? No, and it's not because it's not a good shaver. It's just because I prefer a little more heft in my razors, and I have too many as it is. In fact, I've gotten rid of a few lately. Once you get so many razors, you just can't even get to the ones you like because you feel like you have to rotate through your razors. So the answer is no, but is it worthy of buying for me? Does it meet my requirement? Yes, it does in terms of the shave. How does it compare in aggressiveness? It's different. The above the tie slants are very, very smooth. This one you feel a little more blade, but I found it to be quite efficient, and I wasn't expecting it to. And I didn't say aggressive, I just meant efficient. God, I wish Leroy would quit that barking. Don't you? Leroy, hush. All right. Let's see if we can finish this thing. This next question comes from David Farley. Chris, great review as always. So materials aside, how do you rate this razor in comparison to Joe's infamous slant? And he's also referring to the fine slant. The fine slant to me was more efficient than the RazoRock Stealth slant. You felt a little more blade on your face, and I felt it did a little bit better job of removing the hair, a little more efficient. However, I did like both razors, but on the shave, I would give the edge to the fine slant. Now, I'm not comparing it to Joe's old Bakelite type slant. I'm comparing it to the Stealth slant, so please keep that in mind. Next one comes from Vigilante Driver. Do you recommend corking your blades before first use? I've noticed my first shave on a new blade always gives me a love bite. The second, third, and fourth do not. To date, I've not gone beyond 4 shaves on the blade. First of all, your last part, 4 shaves on the blade, that's a good practice. Unless you're using a Persona 74, which you can get a lot more shaves out of. For double-edged razors, yes, 3 to 4 is usually the sweet spot. Do I cork them? No, I do not. My personal feeling is corking it, while some people think it smooths it out, it also dulls the blade a little bit. I mean, cork is going to dull the blade. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And while that works for some people, I prefer that blade to be as sharp as it can be, although it can be a little more rough. Now that flies in the face of some folks in terms of conventional wisdom. They think corking it is the equivalent of stropping it, like with a straight razor and a lining. And so for me, I don't cork. I don't want to dull the blade, but that's just me. So if corking works for you, continue to cork, because the only thing you can do wrong is not do what works for you. So if corking works, keep corking. All right, next question comes from NC Fishboy. Where's the best place to pass off a soap if you don't like it? I'm new and don't know anyone that uses a DE razor. A lot of places. There are places like Damn Fine Shave, that has a forum, buy, sell, and trade. You can also give stuff away there. There are Facebook groups like Shaving Enablers and the Shave Market where you can piff stuff. So join any of those communities and you can give stuff away or put it on a buy, sell, and trade as you please. Next question comes from Todd Smith. Surprised you didn't mention something like this. Okay, I've spent a lot of money on gear, and he's referring to the fine slant razor. Frankly, though I've never broken into the slant game, largely this is because there really is an affordable option out there to try. This way right here is a way into the game without dropping a car payment. That's the best part of this razor, a quality slant and an affordable price for those of us who've never tried a slant due to the cost restrictions. Now, keep in mind, Todd, there is the Merkur 39 razor that is a slant, and I think 37 is the shorter slant, and those are fairly affordable. So usually you can find those around $40-ish, and sometimes a little under. And there's also on eBay, sometimes you can find the Lutz slant for 30-ish. So there are options out there, but you're right insofar as the stainless steel ones are usually far more expensive, and the other ones. So this is a razor that would appeal to some on the price front, so I don't disagree with you, but keep in mind we always have that Merkur 37 and 39C and the Lutz that are available for around the same price. There goes Leroy again. Sorry, people. Next question comes from Roger G. Do you bloom hard soaps prior to lathering? Not usually. Every now and then I will, particularly when it's cold, because I shave down here in the basement and it's not particularly well insulated. So in the wintertime it tends to be a little colder and my soaps tend to get a little colder. So sometimes I'll bloom the hard soaps, but I never bloom the softer soaps. I don't think there's anything to gain from that. And again, some people will bloom everything. I don't. In particular, I don't bloom soaps like Katie's Bubbles or Tiki. I just don't find there's any reason whatsoever to do so. That's just me. Generally, I don't bloom. That's the answer. Leroy Hush. Next question comes from Ashton McMullen. Chris, I was wondering as to why you choose not to use PAA soaps. I only ask because I strongly value your opinion. Let me answer this by saying this. If you've had a good relationship with PAA, if you like the products, continue to use them. Make your own choice regarding who you buy from, and if they meet your requirements, buy from them. PAA puts out good products, and if you're happy with the relationship and the product, please continue to buy from it. All right, folks, the next question is a comment, and it comes to us from Iron Hands, and this was in response to the Fine American Blend Spotlight. To take the advice of TSC and keep them up and keep them open, this phony review should not be taken seriously. TSC uses the products once and then proclaims it amazing, wonderful, top 10. There's zero depth to this content with no detail or specifics as to why he thinks what he thinks. How could he? He's had very little data to draw a conclusion. Be warned, we've seen this over and over with this guy where he rushes out content and flip-flops. Don't put any stock in what he says. TSC should practice what he preaches and remember to keep them up and keep them open. Well, a couple of responses here. First of all, you'll notice I didn't call this review. I don't do reviews anymore. It's a spotlight. I'm giving you my thoughts on the soap as I'm using it. Secondly, in that video, you'll notice I talked about the scent and how much I liked it. And I said it would probably elevate to the top of my barbershop scented list because that's, it was really a scent that to me had such good strength and such good quality that yes, it is right now at the top of my barbershop scented soaps. And I did use it twice, and I had the same feelings both times because I used it when I used the fine razor. And I also mentioned the quality of the lather and the rest of it, so you obviously missed out on those things. And about flip-flopping, look, sometimes over time you'll change your mind, and I come back and tell people when I change my mind. That's not flip-flopping. That's just coming back and correcting the record if something changes, and I'm always going to do that. So if you don't like that, there's plenty of other people to watch. No skin off my back. All right. Next question comes from, and I tend to put the more either wacky or negative ones at the end. And the reason I include these is just so you guys know, what comes in on a weekly basis. And a lot of times I'm entertained by it, to be honest with you. All right. This one comes from Lord of all Straight Shavers. Why are you friendly with these shills like the Stallion, Anthony Esposito, and Billy T, who are selling cheap Chinese-made razors to unsuspecting new shavers? Well, that opens up a whole barrel of monkeys when you ask a question that concerns that he's talking about the Gold Dollar razor. And first of all, let me say this. The Gold Dollar has a place. Does anybody claim it's equivalent to a $100 Ralph Elst? No. I don't think anybody is claiming it's equivalent to the statement about cheap Chinese-made. Where do you think a lot of these high-end Badger knots come from? Where do you think? Think about that. Asia, China, all in that region. So the same guys who holler and jump up and down about cheap Gold Dollar, cheap garbage from China are using these Badger brushes that the knots largely come from China or that region. Also, they're texting on an iPhone, which comes from China. And if you turn the label inside out on the shirt, it's probably from China or somewhere in the region of Asia. So look, guys, if you don't like buying Chinese-made products, that's fine, but stay consistent. I mean, no, when you holler about cheap Chinese, look around in your home. Look around just generally in the stores where you're buying things. They're going to be products made in China. Now, is the gold dollar equivalent? I don't think so. Probably not. Probably doesn't have the, type of steel that the higher end razors have and all the rest of it. But for a guy who maybe doesn't have a lot of money to spend, he's not sure whether he wants to get into straight. It's a nice way he can shave a few times with it and decide whether he's going to go on and buy a more expensive razor or not. Now, some people will say, well, he's going to get a bad experience. That doesn't match my experience, because when I dabbled in straight razor shaving for a short time, I bought a Ralph Alst and a gold dollar. And for me, and I'm only speaking for me, I preferred the heft because the gold dollar razor was a little bit larger and the scales were more substantial. I preferred the heft of that gold dollar to the Ralph Alst. Now, if I shaved with them 50 times, I probably would have changed my mind. But from a new person, that weight helped me a little bit. And granted, you can buy a more expensive razor of, bigger size and all the rest of it. But the scales on the Ralph Alst was sort of chintzy, and I felt like it didn't feel substantial to me. That is not to say it wasn't a good razor. The point I'm trying to make here is, guys, use whatever you like. Who cares if it's a gold dollar or a Ralph Alst or a Dovo? Just use whatever you like. And the reason that I'm friendly with the Stallion Ability, they've helped a lot of people. I realize not everybody agrees with what they say, but they've helped a lot of people get into straight razor shaving. And I don't think that can be debated. So if you don't like them, that's fine. But I think they still do a lot of good things. Now, it doesn't mean that I support everything that they do and everything that they say, because I do not. But they have done a lot of good too, so you have to sort of take that into consideration. All right, last question, wrapping up here. Comes from Arizona Shaver, and this is one of the colorful ones. It says, you are a F word, a homophobic slur. You're a FAG. Why don't you put a soap in your fat jaws and choke on it? So I just read that because, once again, it comes from a bogus burner email account. And guys, again, I use this as an example. When you get stuff like that, if you do videos, just ignore it or laugh at it and move on. The fact that somebody from a fake account or a fake avatar, not even man enough to be a real individual, sends you something like that, you know what you're dealing with. So all you can do is laugh and chuckle. And I share it with you just for the sake of, laughing. And if you're a guy looking to get into videos, you're going to get some of that. It's okay. Just move on. Don't give it a second thought. Go on and enjoy your day and realize that these people don't have any influence over your life. So don't take it personally, as I don't. This guy probably, he probably has a rough life or he's jealous. There's no telling why people write that kind of stuff, but it really doesn't matter. So that wraps up this week's Q&A. It was a long one because I had a lot of questions and statements to get to. Sorry about the barking from Leroy. I hope that's not too loud in the video. But anyway, thanks guys for your questions, and we'll be back again next week with another Q&A. Until then, keep them up, keep them open, and follow the money to get to the truth.